Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
A winter storm watch goes in effect for tomorrow for the entire viewing area. I'll show you the updated amounts of snow, sleet, and ice that we could see.
Treating the roads ahead of that winter weather. We are live with a look at the steps crews are taking to keep you safe.
It is a national day of mourning. Family, friends, and celebrities are paying their final respects to former President Jimmy Carter.
And unimaginable destruction. Several wildfires burning out of control in California forces 180,000 people to flee for safety.
A winter storm watch goes into effect tomorrow for our entire viewing area. Not everyone, though, will see measurable snow. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. We have live team coverage to get you ready for winter weather. We begin with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with the latest run of the models and what we can expect.
Yes, we're definitely looking at some snow and a wintry mix in parts of the viewing area. Just because we have this winter storm watch does not mean everyone sees a whole bunch of snow out of this. As a matter of fact, it's possible that this becomes upgraded to a winter storm warning, and the criteria would be as much as 3 inches of snow and or up to a quarter of an inch of ice, which is what would cause power outages. And we could see all of that in our viewing area starting Friday evening, continuing into very early Saturday morning. This is a look at our latest run of Futurecast. Early this morning, we did see it starting off as rain around 3 o'clock. That's backed off a little bit. This is 1 o'clock. Here's 3 o'clock. And there may be a sprinkle or two, but it's a very dry air mass that's sitting over us right now. So a lot of this is going to evaporate before it reaches the ground. So it may be that this begins where you are as snow. Unless you're down here in Fayetteville and Clinton, it may still be a little bit of rain there at around 5 o'clock. But because we're starting to see snow work its way into the triangle at 5 o'clock, that means big impacts for the evening commute. Watch what happens. We'll keep pushing this forward. We'll stop it at 6 o'clock, and you can see snow here around Durham and Raleigh. And by 7 o'clock, it's spreading across most of, but not quite all of the viewing area. It's been very cold, and it may be that, we have slick conditions on roads already by 6 or 7 o'clock. It may happen very quickly, so keep that in mind. You don't want to be out on the roads past 5 o'clock in the triangle if you can help it. Here's a look at 8 o'clock. More snow across the viewing area. Our northeastern counties may not have seen it yet at that point, and we do start to see the changeover down to the south by 8 to 10 o'clock. Fayetteville and Clinton starting to see that changeover, but look at how long we have blue showing up here in the triangle from around 5 or 6 o'clock all the way until around 2 a.m. That is a long time for the snow to fall, and the models are starting to show some numbers of snow totals that look a little bit heftier than what we were seeing a day or two ago. So we'll take a closer look at that coming up in a little bit. We're still expecting to see the bulk of the snow, or at least the heaviest amounts, to the north and more ice south of Raleigh. Roads are going to be slick, and we'll be watching for the potential for some power outages as well. More on some of those numbers coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. You've probably already seen the work being done to prepare for the storm. Those white chalky lines are all over Triangle roads to prevent ice from forming. And Raleigh is getting started on that today. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is at the Raleigh Transportation Department, where crews have been out all morning. Sean.
Yeah, that's right, Renee. Since 10 a.m., they've been coming here to the Department of Transportation facility to fill up with that salt brine right here. This will go into the trucks as they arrive and fill them up with that precious salt brine that is there to prepare the roads. They have about 800.
A department created by President-elect Donald Trump to slash government spending is now hiring. The Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, is hiring HR, IT, and finance employees. The post on X asks candidates to send a message to the department's account with a few bullet points detailing their abilities along with their phone number.
New York's highest court rejected President-elect Trump's request to block upcoming sentencing in his hush money case. The decision means that the U.S. Supreme Court is Trump's last option to prevent the hearing from taking place Friday. Trump has asked the Supreme Court to call off Friday's sentencing in the hush money case. A jury convicted Trump on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in May. He has denied wrongdoing. A judge has pushed back sentencing for disgraced former New York Congressman George Santos. Lawyers for Santos asked to push the February date to August, but the judge set for April 25th. Now, Santos has pleaded guilty to identity theft and fraud charges, and he faces up to 22 years in prison and more than $500,000 in restitution and forfeiture. The ID theft charge carries a mandatory 2-year term.
In the past 10 minutes, we've learned that at least 5 wildfires are burning in the Los Angeles area. Some of the people impacted for these wildfires have North Carolina ties. WRAL's Ken Smith joins us now with some of their stories. Ken, these fires are disrupting so many lives.
So many lives, including people like former Duke star and current LA Lakers head coach J.J. Redick, saying members of his family were forced to abandon their homes because of this. These apocalyptic scenes are playing out in the Los Angeles hills. Neighbors, animals alike running for their lives. These are scenes from Altadena, California, the so-called Eaton Fire. We've been in touch with several people with triangle ties. One is Kevin Merritt. He actually cut his visit to Raleigh short in order to get back to California to check on his home. He says it's a constant high alert to stay ahead of the approaching fires.
Already have a couple bags packed, ready to go, just grab the essentials and some clothes and that sort of thing, have them loaded up in the car.
I'm fortunate enough to have family that lives a little bit outside the city, away from the action. And when I lost power this morning, one of 4 million people in Los Angeles County affected, I just decided it was best to get out.
Yes, so far almost 200,000 people are being forced out of their homes because of these wildfires. That number could rise because there's very little to no containment of any of these fires. Now, I've been in touch with the daughter of a close family friend. Her name is Tiffany Hutchinson. She's an actress in L.A. She's not sure if she's going to be evacuated, but she says she and her family can smell the smoke coming through the cracks of the doors and the windows.
The images have been catastrophic, and just really thinking of those folks who are just trying to get out of harm's way.
Well, it's unimaginable. And it's lasted so long. We've seen these wildfires and they get put out, but the winds just haven't stopped.
Not this time.
Hopefully. Yeah. Well, Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Brand new information that came out this morning on that winter storm watch for us.
That's right. This came out at about 4 o'clock this morning from the National Weather Service, and most likely tomorrow morning it will move to a winter storm warning. It does look like we'll probably meet the criteria, which is up to 3 inches or around 3 inches of snow and the potential for maybe up to 1/4 of an inch of ice. Neither one of those things is going to be all across the entire viewing area, so we're definitely going to see differing scenarios in different parts of the viewing area. Let's go over Futurecast again. We'll kick things off here at lunchtime tomorrow, and you can see a little bit of patchy rain that tries to move in. This version of Futurecast is much lighter on the rain than it was with the previous model, and this seems pretty reasonable. This is going to move into very dry air. That leading edge moving into our dry air will likely evaporate before it reaches the ground. So at 3 o'clock, there might be a few snow showers that start to develop in the sandhills, but it's likely to be 5 to 6 o'clock before we really start to see this around the triangle. There's 5, 6 o'clock. That's really important because we're talking about the evening commute. And I know people, will say, wait until the snow starts to head out. And all of us who have been here for a long time know that can be a real mess. Now, there's brine on the roads, and that will definitely help. But if everybody waits until it starts snowing at 5 or 6 o'clock tomorrow evening to hit the roads, it is going to be a giant mess. It is likely to be rain in our southeastern counties until 7 or 8 o'clock, but watch the snow start to push in here. Fayetteville and Clinton changing over to snow by around 7 p.m. And there will likely be snowing from, say, 6 o'clock in the triangle all the way up until potentially midnight. We start to see that changeover here around Fayetteville and Clinton a little bit earlier. But look at this. I mean, there's 3 a.m. with the changeover happening, and it doesn't really change over at all in our northern county. So those are some areas that, if this scenario works out, could really see some significant snow. Of course, we still have several scenarios that could happen if for some reason the track of the storm ends up bumping a little bit farther to the north. Then we're going to see the warmer air pushing north, and we won't see as much snow. And we may not really know that until this is right on top of us, and that's really frustrating for us as meteorologists and is for you too. This is what we're looking at right now: 1 to 3 inches of snow. That may be a little bit on the light side, depending on just how everything shapes up, and then looking at less than an inch of snow, say from Bloomington down toward Fayetteville and Clinton. Again, those numbers may be a little light in terms of the new models that we've seen coming in. We did bump up our ice forecast. We have the potential for scattered power outages from southern Wake County southward. We're looking at the potential for a quarter of an inch of ice. This is a look at the Euro model. Notice that a lot of that ice is from the triangle area southward, but then the GFS, which is the American model, does push that a little farther to the north, and that would mean, of course, a bit of a change in terms of who sees that, and there would be less snow associated with that as well. So again, we're looking at that potential for the wintry mix. Roads are going to be slick and covered definitely Friday night into Saturday morning. Coming up, we're going to take a closer look at the European and the GFS with the snowfall totals, and I'll show you how it's different from what it was early this morning.
And that's not all, Elizabeth. You've been talking about this wintry mix, and when you hear that term, you know it is time to stock up and stay home. We'll explain how all that snow, sleet, and freezing rain factor into our forecast.
Plus, developing a digital safety plan. 3 simple steps to help you stay safe on the internet. Cybercrime is on the rise, and anyone can be a target. This new year, you may want to work on building a digital safety plan. Well, what do we mean by that? It's about taking action to safeguard your personal data, finances, and digital privacy. Joining us now is Kimberly Simon, who specializes in cybersecurity, and she joins us now to share some simple ways that we can protect ourselves. Kimberly, great to see you again.
Good to see you again.
You know, a lot of folks are thinking, you know, I'm good. I won't be one of those victims that falls for these things, but there are things that you need to do to protect yourself. Why is it so important now, especially for people to protect themselves online?
Oh, cybercrime is on the rise. Over the past 12 months, the North Carolina Department of Justice reported over 21,000 cases reported, and they're around scams and fraud. Now, it's important for us as we begin a new year to be more mindful about how we're protecting our information.
All right, and we want to give viewers 3 concrete ways to do that starting today. All right, good place to start, your password, right? You got to have a strong password.
You got to have a strong password. So start with better password protection. Avoid using password as your password. Avoid using password 123 and avoid using the same password across all your accounts. 90% of passwords can be cracked in seconds. Instead, consider using a password manager. Now, this allows you to create complex passwords that are different across all your accounts, and they change over time.
And sometimes it helps. It's hard to remember passwords too, right? But like maybe a phrase or a sentence is longer the better.
Longer. And then make sure that you're changing them over time.
Okay.
So you know some people have had the same password for the past 5 years?
Right.
Why?
Time to change it today. All right. Then there's also something called multi-factor authentication. What is that and why is that important?
So multi-factor authentication means that in order to access your account, they need to provide 2 pieces of information at least. So that could be your password plus a code emailed to you or sent to your phone. Now that really protects you in case your password is compromised. We should all be using multi-factor authentication, and you can find that in your security settings. So make sure that you've enabled multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, some people may think, oh, that's just another step, that's cumbersome, but that's meant to protect your information.
To protect you, a password is no longer enough. So this means that if somebody tries to get into your account, you would get an alert that says, hey, you know, somebody has tried to get into your account. This is the code if it is you.
Okay. Third step, keep the software and devices updated. When you get those notifications, do you want an update? You need to say
yes.
Yes.
Say yes, because a lot of people, they just don't do it immediately.
Yeah,
so
I put it off.
We all do sometimes, but it is best practice for you to automate your updates, or at the very least, whenever you get that prompt to update your software, to do it immediately. Because whenever there is an update, they have updated or they have addressed what are called known vulnerabilities. So these are weaknesses that the bad guys can really exploit to get into your information. So if you're using an old version of anything, update it now.
Okay. We are smarter than those bad guys. All right. Thanks to Kimberly Simon, CEO of Secure Network Administration. Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us and with those strategies that we can do starting today. I will accept those updates.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Jeff.
I'll change my password, okay? You are looking at a live view right now, Fountain Mountain here at WRAL, right out in our plaza. This is the tower cam from above, and yes, the ice is building, a recurring symbol of winter weather here in the Triangle. Team coverage of tomorrow's WRAL Weather Alert Day continues in our next half hour. And smart money moves. If your New Year's resolution was to save more in 2025, we'll have a few ways you can increase your wealth. This might be one strategy. Winning lottery numbers on your screen.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Welcome back. 90% of the state is under a winter storm watch for tomorrow.
Includes all of our viewing areas. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, all headed to parts of our viewing area. And because of that, tomorrow and Saturday are WRAL Weather Alert Days.
WRAL's Elizabeth Gardner is in the Severe Weather Center with when we can expect the system to move in.
We'll likely start to see this around the middle of the afternoon up until the time of the evening commute. It'll be light at that point, but it really picks up in intensity during the evening commute. It does cover the entire viewing area for tomorrow, and most likely it will be upgraded from a winter storm watch to a winter storm warning. But that doesn't mean that any of these numbers are going to change. Parts of the viewing area could see 3 inches of snow. Other parts of the viewing area could see 1/4 of an inch of ice that could cause some issues with power outages. More snow north of Raleigh, less snow south of Raleigh, more sleet and freezing rain. Roads are likely to become slick anywhere in the viewing area, but especially from the Triangle area northward. The Friday evening commute is likely to deteriorate quickly. School pickup on Friday still looks okay. Schools, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, things should still be fine across the bulk of the viewing area. But I would also anticipate that some schools tomorrow may decide to close early. So start making plans for how you may handle that. The 3 most important things to know is most likely what falls will stick on the grass and on the street, even though the crews are doing a great job of putting out the brine. And it won't be just snow. We'll see snow to start with, and then it's going to change to an icy mix for most of us. But this is the good part. The best chance in years that we'll have some sledding possible. I'll tell you what the best time will be to get out and sled. We'll talk about what some of the computer models are saying for snow totals coming up.
Okay, that's exciting, but winter roads also can be dangerous. So there are a few ways you can make sure that you and your vehicle are prepared. 5 Under Side's Keely Author is live with a few easy ways to winterize your car. Keely.
Renee, you being from Michigan, me being from Illinois, we know how this goes, but we've been pretty lucky here. We haven't had to deal with a lot of winter weather in the Triangle for, frankly, years. Some of us may be a little out of practice then. So here are a few things that you can do today to make sure you're safe tomorrow and Saturday. The first thing we want you to do is check your tire pressure. Make sure it is at those factory recommended settings, and then look at the tread on your tires. If they're especially bald when you give it an eyeball, maybe don't drive with that car tomorrow, because that's going to be really difficult when things are slick on the roads. Let's talk about your windshield. Let's bring the windshield wipers up during work tomorrow, maybe overnight tonight and Friday night. That way, when you get in your car, you can bring them down and they'll start working right away. If you have ice on your windshield, obviously use a scraper. If you don't, you can take a credit card and literally just hack at the ice in the same way. I have done both. Sometimes I haven't had a scraper. Both work perfectly fine. Something else that we've seen to get rid of ice on a windshield wiper, and I have not tried this one personally, is to take rubbing alcohol and literally spray it on your windshield. This will help de-ice that surface, which we love. Something else you want to do is make sure your windshield washer fluid is topped off. Same goes for your gas. You want to make sure the gas tank is full. That's going to help add weight to your car. And it's also going to be good if you get stranded. That way you have a full tank. The next thing you want to do is you want to create a little bit of a safety kit. So if you were to get stranded, which hopefully it's not going to come to that, you're going to have a bag with blankets, flashlights, snacks. That's the most important thing in my book. Some water bottles, things like that. So if you have to pull over, you can stay safe and warm until help arrives. The next thing that might be a kind of cheap and easy thing to have on hand is this ice mount. We just bought it for $13. You can put it around your car wheels, and that way it will create some traction. You can be off on your way. Last piece of advice, give yourself time when you drive on Friday and Saturday morning. It is going to be a very, very dicey situation on the roads. Be safe, give yourself space from other vehicles. Live from the WRAL parking lot, I'm Keely Arthur.
Great suggestions from Keely. I did not know about that rubbing alcohol, so try that out and see how that works. You can expect live weather updates throughout tomorrow and Saturday on WRAL News Plus as we follow this winter storm weather. That's available over the air channel 34 and Spectrum 1257.
And we flip back to the other side of the country. Those deadly fires burning in Southern California. This year's Oscar nominations have been delayed by 2 days because of the deadly fires. The voting for the nearly 10,000 Academy members opened yesterday. It's also been extended until Tuesday. And the nominations will be revealed January 19th. Former Oscars host Billy Crystal is among the celebrities who lost homes, as well as Mark Hamill, Paris Hilton, and James Woods. Tens of thousands of people in Hollywood are under those evacuation orders after the Sunset Fire erupted last night right near the iconic Hollywood Bowl and Hollywood Walk of Fame. Those ongoing fires also caused a glut of TV productions to be halted, including NBC Universal's Loot, Ted, and Suits LA.
Testing the milk supply. Why the government says more states doing so is helpful to vaccine efforts to protect against bird flu.
Plus, concierge service on a plane. How Delta plans to use AI for a better travel experience. You keep up with breaking news and winter weather updates by downloading the latest version of the WRAL News app. Stock markets closed today in observance of the National Day of Mourning for President Jimmy Carter. Tomorrow, the December jobs report will be released right before the opening bell.
It's expected to show a slight increase over the previous month. And now here's Maribel Aber with ways you can make smart money moves in the new year.
It's a new year and a chance to make money moves to set you up for 2025. The Motley Fool recently listed some of the changes you can make, starting with getting out of debt. The personal finance website says it's hard to get ahead with earning 10% on investments. That's if you're paying off debt with 15% or 25% interest. And it's always a good time to live below your means. Spend less than you bring in. Another recommendation for the new year, start an emergency fund that can cover at least 3 months of your expenses. That fund should be aimed at paying things like housing, food, transportation, and utilities. It can also help weather any large unexpected bill like a big car repair. And take the new year as an opportunity to rebalance your portfolio to make sure you have the proper mix of stocks and bonds. Stocks tend to grow more quickly than bonds and can often take up a disproportionate amount of your portfolio. Also check any retirement funds you have to make sure you're contributing as much as you can.
And that was Maribel Aber reporting. As for the December jobs report, economists forecast about 155,000 new jobs were created last month. That would put the average monthly job growth at around 180,000 for all of 2024.
Airbnb customers who booked vacation rentals in areas affected by the Southern California wildfires are now able to get a refund. It comes after a customer blasted the company on social media, saying it refused her request to cancel a vacation rental in the Los Angeles area. Although the vacation booking was farther away from the danger zone, the customer says Airbnb did not account for difficulties traveling in Southern California. Airbnb has since offered the customer a full refund.
High-tech help. How new devices could offer faster protection for communities from devastating wildfires.
Also, creating your personalized flight experience. How Delta's new tool can handle everything from rebooking delayed flights to suggesting the quickest route to your gate. In a surprising on-camera interview, a woman confirms to WRAL Investigates she is the woman you hear in this recording.
She literally had me buy a trash can, dude, and keep him in there for a month.
And the she referred to here is Avante Devon, a Fayetteville mother accused of murdering 2 of her adopted children, London and Blake Devon. Police said Avante forced someone else to participate in a plan to hide Blake's body by dismembering it and burning it. The woman in the recording is Cherish Devon, another one of Avante's adopted children. Cherish confirmed to WRAL Investigates Chris Levengood she participated in that crime.
When she asked you to be a part of this crime, what did she ask you specifically?
There was no asking. There was just, you do it. You're doing it. If not, you're getting in trouble.
That was just a small portion of the nearly hour-long interview Cherish Devon had with Chris. Hear more from her on why she says she was forced to be a part of this crime and what she witnessed moments before she said her brother died. That's all coming your way tonight at 6 on WRAL.
The USDA says 15 additional states have enrolled in a government program to test the nation's milk supply for bird flu. That brings the total to 28 states, which account for nearly 65% of the nation's milk production. H5N1 bird flu has been spreading in dairy cattle since March. Infectious disease experts have called for expanded testing since the beginning of the outbreak. Bird flu has been detected at a commercial poultry farm in North Carolina. It was found in Hyde County and confirmed by multiple labs, including one here in Raleigh. It is North Carolina's first case of bird flu since last February.
New technology on display at this year's Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas could help combat future wildfires, just like the ones burning in Southern California right now. Tech company Delphi created a device that it says can help detect new wildfires as they ignite. The company says the device uses artificial intelligence, chemical sensors, and multiple infrared cameras to identify fires and can also send out alerts to people at risk.
So our system is always running, and every 30 seconds, the AI on board of our system itself is scanning for flame or smoke. That allows you to rapidly detect a fire, and when we detect something, we backhaul the data and we send an alert with a picture.
Other tech companies displayed electric fire trucks as well as a new app designed to send out timely alerts for those who may be facing a wildfire. Whatever technology works, and a little help from Mother Nature never hurts.
Not at all. And speaking of Mother Nature, it's looking more and more likely that we could end our 3-year snow drought here in the Triangle. Elizabeth, you're saying snow amounts to temper expectations, but we could see some snow.
We definitely could. There's a good chance that we'll have enough snow in parts of the viewing area to go sledding, which of course hasn't happened in 3 years. We saw 0.4 of an inch, almost a half an inch, January 29th of 2022. That was the last official snow that we saw at RDU. Now we've had snow in some other parts of the viewing area, but nothing, no big widespread snow for the last 3 years. So tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day. Right now it's a winter storm watch. Most likely either late tonight or early tomorrow morning, the Weather Service will upgrade it to a winter storm warning. There is an outside chance that we could see as much as 3 inches of snow up in some of our northern counties around the Triangle, probably an inch, but there are certainly some indications that we could see maybe 2. I think 3 inches in the Triangle probably is pushing it, but 1 to 2. It's all going to depend on how fast that snow, freezing rain, sleet line moves northward. Right now, it looks like it's fairly slow moving, but you know how these things go. They can be difficult to pin down. Our southern counties likely to see that changeover come quicker, and that means that we'll have more sleet and freezing rain in those counties. So it all starts as snow or a little bit of rain and then makes that transition from south to north. Roads are going to be our biggest concern. Roads are going to get really messy pretty quickly on Friday, and the timing of this really couldn't be worse. People will be out at work and probably just waiting to see if it's going to snow or not, and then everybody hits the roads as the snow starts, and we've seen that play out multiple times around here, and it is a mess. So don't let that happen to you. Some power outages are possible. This storm is really getting cranked up. The low is still down here around the Gulf of Mexico, but look at all the snow in Texas, up here across Oklahoma. That's getting ready to cross the Mississippi Valley. Lots and lots of snow. Talk about travel issues. Boy, the airports are probably going to see a lot of cancellations. Keep that in mind as well. So Futurecast tomorrow, likely to be dry at lunchtime, but then after that, in the early part of the afternoon, there could be a little bit of drizzle. Most of that's going to evaporate before it reaches the ground, and then the snow starts to to move in, getting really close to Durham and Raleigh by the time we hit 5 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, it's sitting right here in the triangle, and it will continue to push eastward. Our southeastern counties may start down south as a little bit of rain, but even there, once we get into, say, 7 or 8 o'clock, a lot of that changes over to snow as well. We're going to have a period of how many hours that it snows? Starting at 6, here's 8 o'clock with snow in the triangle. Here's 10 o'clock with snow in the triangle, and potentially all the way up until midnight before we see that changeover. Now, it could always happen faster, and if it does, that will limit the amount of snow that we see. But this version of Futurecast and some of our long-range models are really kind of leaning toward this. Still, make sure that you check in with Mike and Kat tonight, check in with me and Anthony in the morning, and we'll take a look at how things have changed overnight. This is a look at when that snow could move in and cause travel problems between 3 and 5 in our western counties, including Durham, between 4 and 6 in Raleigh and Fayetteville, and then between 6 and 8 from Clinton to Goldsboro to Rocky Mount. That's an estimate of the timeline of when the roads are going to look bad. This is a look at Futurecast, maybe a half an inch in Fayetteville and up to 2 inches around the triangle. And then for the American model, we're looking at some heavier totals as well, potentially 2 inches as you head from Raleigh northward and westward, and much less snow down to the south and east. So we're looking at technically at 1 to 3 from the triangle area northward, and potentially less than an inch in some of our southern counties. Of course, it is a WRAL weather alert day Friday and Saturday. And again, it's the time to keep checking back with us regularly.
Improving your flight experience, how Delta's new AI-powered tool promises to give passengers a more personalized trip.
First, here's a look at the winning Powerball numbers. We have 1, 20, 36, 38, 43. The Powerball is 24, and the multiplier is 2. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Crews in Raleigh are preparing for the winter storm by brining roads. The city's DOT has been out since 10 a.m. brining roads in Raleigh. They have about 840 miles of road they're responsible for. The plan is to brine every single mile. Crews do this because it lowers the freezing temperature of the pavement. Stick with WRAL on air, online, and on WRAL News Plus as we get you ready for the storm.
Terrible to see this serious crash. It closed part of a road in Harnett County. It's right along US 421 in Broadway. WRAL Sky 5 was above as crews worked to clear the crash. Both lanes were closed. There was an ambulance there, a fire truck on the scene. We're working to learn what caused the crash and how the people involved are doing.
Today, a North Carolina police officer who was shot and killed last month will be laid to rest. A funeral service for Officer Michael Horan will be held in Greensboro starting at 2 this afternoon. You can watch a live stream on WRAL.com. The Greensboro police officer was shot and killed December 23rd while responding to a call at Food Lion. The man accused of killing him, Terrell McMillan, is facing a first-degree murder charge.
AT&T is offering customers a discount if they experience an outage. This company says it will automatically apply a credit to customers' bills if they experience a fiber outage for at least 20 minutes. If an outage lasts for an hour, the credit will be equivalent to a full day of service. The announcement comes after the company suffered a nationwide disruption last February that lasted more than 12 hours.
Delta Airlines is turning to artificial intelligence to make what it says flying the friendly skies a little easier. The airline plans to launch a tool on its app called Delta Concierge. The service will guide travelers where to drop off their luggage, as well as the location of their gates. It can also notify customers about possible visa requirements and whether their passport is set to expire.
Our pet of the day is a social butterfly from the SPCA of Wake County. Bandit, a 3-year-old neutered male dog, weighs 70 pounds, super smart, ultra friendly, might be a bit too much for small kids, cats, and other small animals. A home with older kids and adults would be a great fit. His adoption fee is waived through tomorrow. If you are ready to add this little fluffy ball of sunshine to your life, you can visit SPCA Wake if you are ready to welcome him into your life.
Bandit, we're smiling back. That expression is pure joy. The dangers of driving in the snow. Today on WRAL News at 4, our crews are preparing you ahead of this wintry blast heading to our area this weekend. What you need to know to stay prepared and safe on the roads.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with the WRAL News app. Have a great day, everybody.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.